Hi, it's Maria in Maria Unfiltered. Today, I wanted to talk to you about the title of this one is We Created This Mess. And so, have you been embroiled in litigation? You know, in divorce, in estate issues, in insurance, or in an accident, or in fraud? Well, most people on the planet have. So you're in good company if you have. In fact, you're in huge company because very few people actually escape litigation at some point in their lives. And whether it's just a difference of opinion, or as in if someone puts up a fence, you know, and they believe it's on their property, and then their next door neighbor says, no, no, it's on my property, get it off. And so whether it's that kind of a difference of opinion, or whether it, like a small argument, or whether it turns into a huge nightmare, that's the nature of the beast, actually. And so we understand that it's not about the people per se, because the legal system has been this way for decades, if not centuries. It began as just the most amazing way of dealing with disagreements of any type and bringing justice for all. And so, now as we think about it, there's so many things in life that we need an attorney for. We need an advocate, actually. And so it has become kind of a bastardized game of sorts, but good attorneys excel at what they're doing, and then we want those good attorneys on our side. And given the fact that there's such a global awakening, or it appears to me to be that way, I hope it does appear that way to you as well. When we have like this global awakening, we look at all areas that affect us. And so we wonder how we can change some of those things for the betterment of mankind, really, for the evolution of humanity, because we want to be going forward, not backwards. And so, and also we want to remember that from a perspective of oneness, where you are me and I am you, and we have the same issues, and we are all working together because we've all come from the one source. Nothing in life is outside of us. Everything is within us. And the same holds true for the negativity that we see outside in the world. We can't just abdicate responsibility and say, oh, well, that has nothing to do with me, because everything that's out in the collective is really a manifestation of what is within each and every individual making up the collective, because we are the collective. And so we are one another. And whatever issues you face are the same issues I face to a degree. I mean, of course, the details might be different, and of course they are, but generally the themes are the same. And I spoke about that in my earlier today, in my earlier video. But so every person and every experience has an energy to it, has a frequency, has a certain vibe to it, right? And so if it's negative and if it is hurtful, then we are projecting that negativity that is within us. So when the energy that is around us is actually the energy that is outside of us, it is of our own creation, both the positive and the negative. And so the dark and the light, we are a dichotomy of both, the dark and the light. And so if we see our world as a mess, then it is a mess. Oh, the heater just turned on, so I hope you can hear me. Oh, I suppose I should check the volume. A little late now, huh? Let's see, where's the volume? Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so again, if we created that mess, if there is a mess out there, we created it. And so we become the mess, So in terms of the legal system, it has been the status quo. And so people are questioning things all over the world, because the world is changing with the pandemic and all bets are off, right? I mean, nothing that we see now with the masks. Did you in a million years think that you would be walking around with a mask? I know when I flew to Tampa just a few days ago, it was hard to breathe sometimes with that mask on. And so I'd want to pull it off a little bit and let my nostrils go on top of the mask. But, I would have never thought, you would have never thought, but that's just kind of the way things are, it's forward movement, and It's the way things are rolling right now. And so as we think of what's best for all, because that is what is at the foremost of our thoughts right now, is what is the best for you and for your children and for your family and for humanity in general, right? For the population, because we're in this together. And so, and that's kind of a good feeling, isn't it? Because you feel supported when you know that now people are just so. It's amazing because I have found that people are really, really pleasant, really going out of their way to help. In fact, today I took the shuttle to a mall where I had to go to the food court to get something to eat since I am still in a hotel, and I was walking in the lobby, and the bag broke. And the food went on the floor, and my water went on the floor, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And, two people bent down to pick it up for me, and I was like, oh, thank you, God. Oh. So people are really helping, and not that they wouldn't have done it before, but it just seems like people are really being called to do the right thing, to extend themselves, and that's such a beautiful thing. And so anyway, when we think of what's best for all, we're not trying to replace, when we talk about the legal system, we're not trying to replace attorneys. We're not trying to disparage them in any way. We are including attorneys in this. We are including judges and politicians and the powers that be, because we're all in this together. It's not about unearthing or exposing or penalizing or replacing. It's about all working together. And so good attorneys are good at defending. They're good at what they do. It's really about incorporating new ideas into a structure that has been in existence for hundreds of years now. And so God knows that families need help. And so in family law, family attorneys can figure out better ways of dealing with their clients. I know plenty of attorneys. I went to law school, and I spent 6 years in law school, and I had 3 children while I was there. But I know divorce attorneys, and some of them have been married like 2 or 3 times, and some of them are paying child support to 2 or 3 different women, and they weren't very happy about that. But the attorney that their wife had really kind of wanted to prove that he was good at what he did. And so it's no one is exempt. And so there are new ways of looking at issues, whatever those issues are, such that a resolution can be had that is best for all. And no matter how much water I drink, it seems like I'm still always thirsty. Excuse me. So, the legal system used to be kind of like, I used to think it was like McDonald's or one of the fast food chains. It was like supersize it, because now we have bigger. We're not going to give somebody a 12-ounce Coke. We're going to give them a 16-ounce Coke or a 24-ounce Coke, and they're going to walk out with this huge lug. And they're going to be drinking and urinating for hours. But it was all about bigger and better, and who's going to win and who's going to beat the opponent and bludgeon the opponent, and we're going to find the most loopholes, and we're going to hide the truth, and we're going to put money offshore, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and all these covert and sly tactics. But you know what? That's not what it's about, really. And so it's about transparency, because that's the only thing that's going to work. Because when you have one attorney who wants to bludgeon, then you're going to have another attorney who wants to do the same. And then it's going to be like a massacre. And so how stupid is that? But there are other ways of winning. There are other ways of proving one's intelligence and one's savvy and one's skills, really. And so it's about transparency and fairness and respect and justice. And so to see the person on the other side as possibly your sister or your parents who were being sued, or your your best friends or your neighbors. And so the person on the other side doesn't necessarily have to be seen as your enemy, as your adversary, as your most, horrified or horrific, yeah, opponent. It doesn't have to be that way, really. It doesn't, because there's just, think about it. There's just enough hatred in the world and anger and malice in all areas, and people have sold their souls, for money, and it just doesn't have to be that way. And we can put a stop to it because it hasn't gotten us anywhere. It's what it's done is it's just isolated people, and it's created pain and misery and carnage in the streets, and children. The children of divorce. I put out a video, I think it was on Christmas Day, and it was dedicated to the children of divorce because I think they are the true heroes. When they see that their parents are arguing like fools, it must be so painful. My parents happened to, they were very low key. They were both very much intellectuals, and so they used to read a lot, and they were, they listened to music, they read, they conversed, but that I don't remember them screaming at all or raising their voices. And I think if I had, I think it would have just torn me apart inside. Because even if you know that one is right or more right than the other, they're both your parents. And so children of divorce that see their parents act like crazy people, because when they get involved in fights, and I've known men who have not been able to have decent relationships, former marriages or whatever they've said, because of the acrimony within their family of origin. And so they said their parents were like ready to kill each other. And one of them, I think, said his father threw his mother down the stairs. And it totally destroyed him. And, that's so much trauma, and it's so senseless. It's just ridiculous. And so, there's just no reason for it. And we can do better. We must do better for ourselves, for our children, for society in general, and when people take, like in divorce, it's all about, I want this is mine, you can't have it. And so when you don't want to share, ultimately you end up paying the piper. I promise you that. I know when I was getting my divorce, my ex said, if you leave me, I'm going to take everything. And at first I thought, oh, that's a threat, people threaten, but you're not really going to take everything. But you know what? He was really intending to do that. And then I thought, you know what? Go ahead, take it. Because I know for myself, if someone gives me something, I cherish it. Whatever kind of gift it is, whether it's someone was coming to dinner and brought me a little crystal elephant, I remember someone did, or a book, or whatever. If someone comes to my home and brings me flowers or a plant, I remember that. I always remember that. It just kind of is imprinted in my mind. And I'm so grateful for all the things. When I would look around and I think to myself, oh, I know, yes, I got that from that person, and that wasn't that such a nice thing that person brought me. And so, I'm so grateful for the wonderful things that people have done for me and given me. And I hope they're grateful for the things that I've done for them. So it's a reciprocal type of a thing. But I remember thinking when my ex said, I'm going to take everything. And then I thought, I can't afford to fight him. And so, fine, go ahead, take everything. But just remember, every time you use that silverware, every time you use that fork and that knife, if you use it for breakfast and dinner, you will remember me. You will think of me because I selected that. And every time you look at that painting that I bought, you will think of me. And what would be worse than thinking of an ex-wife, 2 times a day? I sure didn't. I was glad to kind of be rid of this stuff because, of course, most of the stuff I had selected. So, of course, I wanted what I selected. I wouldn't have thought of him. But if it was something that he selected, and because most of the things in the house were something that I, as a wife, selected, most of those things had my energetic imprint on them. And even things that now have been taken through my inheritance. Go ahead, take those things, have them all over your house, but just every time you look at them, you will remember that you thieved them, that they do not belong to you, and that you are experiencing karma, negative aspects of karma, because it's the energy. You don't want someone else's things. You don't want to be reminded of the fact that you thieved them from someone. Conscience is real, and karma is real, and energy is real. Energy is what we are. It's what everything is in this world. And so when you try to defy a universal law, something that it's physics, it's reality, it's unreality, it's everything. And when you try to go against that, you cannot. You absolutely cannot. But it's a universal law. And here's a funny story for you. And I like to kind of give funny stories just because sometimes some of this material is rather dry. But I do have a funny story because when I did have my 22-room house, I couldn't afford, the money was hidden, and I just couldn't afford to take everything, to take 11 rooms. And I didn't want 11 rooms anyway, but I think I got 5 rooms, and one of them was like the breakfast room, so there was a table, and one of them was my son's bedroom. So because I had custody of him, and he needed his furniture, and I can't remember, I think one was part of the office furniture or something, and I did get some of the dining room things. But I remember the most expensive thing we had in the house was a rug, and it belonged to some sultan, and it was this beautiful rug. I mean, it was just gorgeous, and it was the most expensive thing in the house, and so I think the judge said, you know what, you guys are going to flip on that. So the attorneys flipped, and my attorney happened to win. And so I thought, oh, well, I selected that rug. And so I was really excited. And I remember when I would have dinner parties, people would walk in the house and they'd say, oh my gosh, they would take off their shoes because the rug was so gorgeous, you didn't even want to step on it, And I, of course, would walk barefoot in my house. But I remember my designer used to come in and I'd tell him, oh, I had a party and people were just loving this rug because he helped me pick it out. And he said, Maria, are you crazy? I mean, just have them walk on it with their shoes. You don't know. This was like in Iran or something, and there were probably camels defecating all over the rug at one point. And so he's like, it's animals there. They're walking all over it. Sultan or no sultan, that's what they do. It was probably outside someplace. So he said, don't be silly, just use it, walk on it. You can always have it cleaned. But anyway, I thought that was kind of funny. But anyway, so the rug was the most expensive thing. And I won the toss. So because I took very few other things, most of the things were like the things he got were in the living room. And so he had 2 big moving vans that came to the house. They were parked in front, and his movers were removing all the furniture that he was taking. And so, but I couldn't remove the rug until all of the furniture was moved, right? Because his furniture was on my rug. So after they finished removing all the furniture, then what happened was he disappeared because I was going to say, you know what? Okay, now move your stuff out. And then now I'm going to have my movers roll it up and take it, and I'll put it in storage or put it, I don't know where I was living. I was renting. I didn't have any money. It was all gone. But so anyway, I said, so I'll roll up the rug with the people that were helping me move. And so all of a sudden, his mover started to roll up the rug after they had taken all the furniture that was sitting on top of this rug. And I said, wait, that's my rug. That's the only thing I get in this room. And so now you've gotten all your stuff, so I'm going to take the rug. And so they said, no, well, we have direct instructions that we are to roll up the rug and put it on the truck. And I said, no, 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 no. That's just, you're misinformed. That's really my rug. That's like the only thing I got in this room. And so they said, well, these are our instructions. And so they just kind of then ignored me and just started rolling it up and then putting it on the truck. And I thought, oh, well, what was I going to do? I kept calling him and he wasn't answering. And so I thought, well, I'll just deal with it later. I'll just get it later, whatever. I'll just call my attorney or something like that. Anyway, it was funny because I heard a voice and I looked outside and there were two huge moving vans and he was hanging off the back of the second one and he's like waving and saying, fuck you, Maria. And so he takes the rug. And so I never saw that rug again. But anyway, and that's divorce. I mean, like, is that not the silliest thing? But I wasn't invested in anything. And so it was like, take it, but we probably spent thousands of dollars on attorneys dealing with this rug. And, they were flipping and they wanted it to be fair and blah, blah, blah. And, he could have said, I insist on everything. And I would have said, okay, it's yours. I'm not going to fight you for it. I'd rather have that money to feed my children right now and feed myself and find an apartment to live in. But you go take it all. It's fine. So anyway, we talk about attorneys and how they could make things better for their clients. And I believe that many attorneys want to make things fairer. And so that would be a wonderful thing. I think it's when you're already in a system that's already in existence, it's difficult to make changes. But I do believe that, all the attorney jokes on the net and stuff like that, it's, it just doesn't have to be that painful. And so I believe that people want to help one another now. I really do believe that there's awakening among the people. And so that is such a wonderful thing. And so I think we want to become better versions of ourselves. And, when we think about it, these are just things. And things mean nothing. We can't take things with us. Things are just not that important. What's important are not the things that you had in the marriage. They're the moments that you shared in the marriage. At least for me, or in any relationship I've had, it's the moments I remember. It's the little crystal elephant or whatever. But it's the thought. It's the kindness. It's the love. It's the just being validated and valued and appreciated. That's what really is important in life. And so I've known many, many miserable, very wealthy people, and I've known many, very happy people who don't have a lot of money, but who are comfortable and who cherish other things in life as opposed to what they can buy or what they have. And I know for myself, living in that mausoleum, that 22-room mausoleum, I think the reason why I wanted such a large home was because my marriage was so bad and because I was so sad. I felt so alone. And so I thought if I had such a big house, then I would be able to kind of escape into one of the rooms and one of the 4 floors, and didn't work that way really. I would, I don't cry easily at all, but I do remember instances of my crying because I just felt so alone. But my ex-husband lived his own life and traveled a lot, and I had 4 beautiful children all around me. But yet there was that loneliness because we were all smiling, all the people in my social circle. We were all smiling and we were all really happy to be together. But something was lacking. And I realize now what was lacking is it was my connection to Source. It was I felt so separated from God. I felt so alone because I wasn't meditating then. I wasn't reading spiritual books. I hadn't thought about all the things that I've learned since then. and the many teachers that I follow and the people that I am so grateful for and so appreciate their awakening and their awakened aspects. And so they're pearls, they're gems of material that have helped me so much. Like Esther Hicks, just as an example, Neil Donald Walsh, um, Eckhart Tolle, um, um, who's the power of, that was the power of now. Who's the other one? Oh gosh, it's at the tip of my tongue. Gary Zukov, Marianne Williamson, so many wonderful, Matt, what's his name? Matt Kahn. There's so many wonderful teachers, and I've learned so much from them, and I am so grateful for who they are. And I don't mean to leave anyone out. I'm just kind of at a loss now, and I wasn't even going to mention anyone. But I didn't know about them then when I was all alone, and my soul was yearning for a connection. And it wasn't until I was able to find some of that material that really allowed me to become more of who I knew I was destined to become this time around, however asleep I was in mainstream life. But um, anyway, as we're talking about attorneys and we're talking about how we can all become better versions of ourselves, we need to stay on track. And when our conscience screams at us to watch out, yes, we do need to watch out. And we need to know that if we go off track and if we take something that doesn't belong to us, ill-begotten goods serve no one, actually. There are painful consequences that are affiliated with that. And so if we just stay on track and we try to be the very best people we can be, then things will work out. And so, like with any corporation, even doctors, the legal system is about profit, the medical system is about profit, business is about profit, and so we can still have that kind of a system. We're not saying that anyone has to donate their time and starve their family, but we're saying that we can all become winners. We don't have to. We don't have to sacrifice our morals and our ethics in order to win. There can be a compromise, and so attorneys have divorces within their families and they have holidays. And so, they know the pain of not being with their children on the holidays that they don't get their children. So it's about embracing everyone, and it's about connecting with the light inside of us, who's true to ourselves and true to the highest version of ourselves. And so no one is better and no one is more divine than you, because we are each trying to be the best we can be. We are each working toward that goal. And we sometimes, we have to stand up, dust ourselves off, and move forward in the most magical and magnificent ways, and to make this world a better place. And so anyway, I think that's about all I'm going to say today. I told you a couple silly stories, but hopefully it helps you remember some of the key concepts that I was trying to bring about, which is about, you don't have to take from your about to be divorced person, your spouse. Just let him have it, and let him remember you. If that's what he wants, let him have it. And you don't need it. And when you connect with yourself, and when you have the knowing of who you really are, then you won't need this stuff. I mean, everything is just extra. It's just a wonderful surprise. It's an added bonus, but it's not going to make or break you. So anyway, I think that's all for now. And until we meet again, I love you. So take good care of yourselves.